So I just recently got this in the garage. This was actually part of that box that I paid $250 in shipping from a viewer, and this was in there, and this is so cool looking in my opinion. So this is the MSI Twin Frosier. It's the lightning flavor, and it's the R7970, and this is just a really cool graphics card. Released back in 2012. It's the Tahiti flavor, and yeah, they don't make stuff like this anymore. Just kind of looking at the back, we have the GPU reactor for the extra overclocking, more volume of power, and I mean, this was just a really cool feature that you don't see anymore. Yes, technology has gotten better, but still, I mean, that's kind of cool. Now, although 12 years old, only 3 gigs of DDR5, I wonder if this card has some fight left in her. So in today's video, we're going to take her apart, really take a cool look at this reactor thing, try some modern-ish gaming, and see, can a 12-year-old graphics card that was designed for performance and lightning flavors and all that good stuff with reactors and yeah, will it still game years later? So let's dive into it. So typically we start with throwing it on the bench, seeing if it works, and then we open it up. But considering that, I mean, I'm committed, there's no return on something that I paid for in a random box full of mystery items. Besides losing time if it doesn't work, why not? And besides, this thing is pretty cool. So we're gonna open this thing up, dive into it. Now the first thing I want to do is take a look at this GPU reactor. So it looks like if I squeeze these in, maybe, yep, there we go. And this is just like a clear cover. I think there's like LEDs over here that flash white. And there we go. And if I'm not mistaken, this board should just pop out just like so. There we are. Let's get this little connector. And there's our GPU reactor. This is just so cool. Little add-on board for it. Kind of reminds me of the old graphics cards days where you used to add the memory onto it for the PCI and ISA and even like sound cards. I mean, you used to add memory to it, but I mean, cool stuff. Now, from what I understand, it was something to do with the volume or the amount of electricity that was needed for the card for overclocking. And by adding like more voltage or volume of voltage, something like that. Don't quote me 100%. I'm just going by what I remember. It was supposed to help with overclocking and stability. I wonder if we could like super overclock this and make this be like a 7900 XTX. Nope, definitely not. So let's start with getting all these screws out. There's like 1,247 of them. All right, back plate delete, complete. And we got tape over here for that GPU reactor. So we're just gonna slide you there and then slowly move things apart. All right. See, will this come off? Oh man, this is easy. Wow, this is just the coolest graphics card ever. And check this out. We got bling action on that. I mean, that is so cool. The whole card, I mean, well, not the whole card, but you got gold here and gold here. I mean, gold there. Pretty sweet. Now, it's actually not in bad condition. The thermal paste. Oh, she dry. So we could definitely get more performance by, you know, addressing that. I don't think she's ever been opened up before. Mostly because kind of the way that's perfectly almost spreaded. And as dry and chalky as it is. Looks like we got a date code. April 21st, 2012. Kind of like car parts that have, you know, the manufacturer date code. That's kind of cool. So we'll go ahead and we'll clean this. And I'm going to give this card a nice cleaning. So regardless whether this card works or not, I think I'm just gonna keep it just as a cool little collector item. I mean, for me, yeah, we could pop this in a potato build and flip it, but I think the last time I checked, the most these cards sell for was like $50, $60. If I'm wrong, I'll post it on the screen, but I think it's really a cool card, and I kind of like it. Well, I don't kind of like it. I do like it. Now, right over here, we have a switch, which could be for dual BIOS. I'm not 100% sure, but it says original and LN2. Maybe that's for overclocking. Let me research that. So taking a look at it, this is actually the dual BIOS. The original is the original, and the LN2 removes all the safety and voltages. So if you want to do some extreme overclocking for it, also does some other downclocking with the memory. I don't know. So if you're gonna like go some extreme overclocking, that's the way to do it. I'm just gonna play it safe with this card. So I went ahead and did a bunch of work off camera. We've seen me clean tons of video cards in the channel, so if you want to see like a more in-depth guide, I actually have dedicated videos for this where you can watch all the other ones. Mostly I'm in a rush because I got to go to work in a little bit, and I'm really antsy and curious to play with this one. So like I said, this is the one that came to $250 shipping deal that I got, so I'll post a link to that video so you can see all the other cool old hardware I got, but this one, pretty nice. Mostly cleaned it up, just wiped it with isopropyl alcohol, got this all looking nice and pretty, cleaned all the contacts. I went ahead and applied thermal paste, nothing fancy on it because, like I said, more than likely this might just be a cool little display piece I have. Just used CryoRig CP15. The viewer sent me a ton of thermal paste on it, greatly appreciate it, so might as well put it to good use. 2 4-pins. Now this uses those mini displays. Unfortunately, I gave away my last one. Word of advice, if you fix people's computers, don't give away the tools you need. Yeah, I should take my own advice on that one. So we're gonna just pop this one in right here. Give her some power, flip the switch. Here we go. We got video, awesome. So let's get on the interweb, download all the drivers, and start stressing this thing. Let's see what it does or does not. So I've been running this for about 20 minutes is my sweet spot. That's normally where I run things. And temps looks good. 60 degrees Celsius. Frames are what they could be for a 12-year-old graphics card. See if we get the clocks in there. How bad are they looking? Not too bad. The cool thing is, literally, it's nice and quiet. And this is a really cool looking card. I mean, I like it. Even the back, let's see if I can get you some of that action back there. Look at that blue. Pretty nice. So let's throw on a game. I think I'm just going to start with Shadow of the Tomb Raider and see how well it performs. So on the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, we got an i7 9700K, 16 gigs of DDR4. Running this at 1080p low settings. Not too bad, folks. Looks like we're probably going to average about 40 to 50 frames per second. Of course, we'll see at the end of the benchmark. Temps, perfect. 56, 57. Probably be a little higher if we keep running it. The card is quiet. Like no coil line, no nothing like that. This little guy is performing fantastic. Now, of course, if we were to put something a little more intense on this, yeah, she'll probably crumble to her knees, but it is what it is. But not too bad. I think what I'm going to do is we're going to finish this up, just see what the average is. And I think I'm going to run some 3D Mark Firestrike, see what that is. Push the voltages on this a little bit, see how much of a difference it makes. So averaging 54 frames per second, not terrible for a 12-year-old graphics card. 1080p low settings, I'll take it. So I think what I'm going to do is before we jump into Firestrike, let me do a little bit overclock, jump up the voltages, and see how much extra we can get out of it. So this is MSI Afterburner. Let's just push the sliders all the way up. Let's just see what happens. Plus 20 on the power, sure. Core clock, 1300, sure. Memory clock, 1400 to 1600, yeah. Let's apply. Let's run Heaven Benchmark and see if this thing crashes. Ooh, it crashed. Okay, close. Alright, so I didn't like that. Let's go back to the way it was. Let's increase our power limit. Let's just start with the power limit and see what that does. Let's try that again. Maybe this wasn't a golden sample. All right, so that's holding steady. Now let's 1200. And memory clock 1500. Apply. And it crashed. Yep. Let's revert. Close. Yeah, she's not much of an overclocker. Let's go back. Do that. Can we at least get 1100? Come on, folks. We got to get something. 1500. All right, let's try that. All right, that seems to be holding. Nope, it did not. Let's try this again. Come on. There we go. Apply. Okay, so core clock 1100, 1500 for the memory clock. There we go. Seems to be working. Now, where do we get to the point where we don't like it? 1150. Okay, you like that. What about 1200? Will you take 1200? 1200. Here we go. No, don't like that. Okay. Ooh, the whole system crashed. I think that's something. Alright, so let's reboot this. I think I'll stick with the 1150, probably 1500 on the memory clock, and we'll run Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So with a little bit of an overclock, and I ran this 3 times, 58 frames per second. We gain 4 frames per second. Not impressive, but hey, it's better than nothing. So now I'm gonna run Firestrike, and what we're gonna do is I put everything back at default settings, and let's kind of see what it does. And we're at 8,764 total score, graphics score 9,833, averaging 35 frames per second. I guess that's good. So now this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and flick the BIOS switch. We'll shut this down. See if it gives me a little more overclocking headroom and see how much we can improve on this. So it's actually a few hours later, and I've probably spent a lot more time on this card than I should have. But I've enjoyed it, and it's been fun. So I've tried overclocking it, and I got to a point where now it's downclocking itself. It could be that this card is just a little worn out. Tried the LN2 BIOS, tried a whole bunch of different things, the BIOS flash update, just went through a whole rigmarole of everything, AMD software, MSI afterburner, and now I'm to the point where I'm losing points. I think we were at like 9,000 and this was slightly higher. I'd have to look at it, but I know for a fact that we've gone down. If it was 35 before, now we're 30, so yeah. The two issues is I'm not 100% sure what I'm doing. And then the other issue is it could just be that the card is, you know, not holding up. When you run it at factory default settings, the card runs fantastic, plays games, but overclocking just doesn't seem to be working. So I'm just gonna have to go ahead, reflash it to the original BIOS, not the modified ones that I found, put everything stock settings, and the card should be fine. So let's wrap this up. So for a 12-year-old card, I mean, it's not bad. You're not gonna be able to play the latest and greatest, but you'll be able to play some, you know, older title games. I mean, even Shadow of the Tomb Raider, you can still play it, and that game is a little old in itself, but it is still a really cool card, taking apart, seeing all that gold, and then even the nuclear reactor in the back. This thing is a really cool card, and I'm sure if I understood how the overclocking for this worked, and maybe if I spent more time with it, I probably could figure out what I did wrong or what needs to be done to get the performance out of it. But for now, I mean, I'm done with it. It's a cool card, and at this point, it's not really worth diving into it anymore because all the effort and everything that you're going to put into it, what you're going to gain is not worth it. It is a cool card, and as far as what it's worth, not really much. Looking on the eBay, I think the cheapest I saw one sell for was like $50, and one sold for $70. Not a lot of them. The more desirable ones, I guess, are the 980 Ti Lightning ones, and even the 2080 Ti Lightning one. Those sell for a premium, but this one, primarily because of the age, even though it's cool, yeah, not much value. It still can game, and if you find one in the wild dirt cheap, I would definitely pick it up if you're looking for something for a potato build. But yeah, we're gonna hold on to it, and I think I got a build idea for it, and I'll kind of show you in a sec where I'm going with it. So in that box that I got for $250, they had this memory, which is fantastic. This is some cool looking memory. It's only DDR3, speeds of 19200. Nothing to write home about, but it is a 32 gig kit. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So I think putting a system together, if I could either paint the motherboard or find one that has this yellow accent, I think that would really look cool, along with some yellow, green, blue underglow to kind of give that whole lightning reactor look. I think it'd be a pretty cool build. I'm putting it together in my head right now. Not sure how I'm gonna do it or which way I'm gonna do it, but the key thing is to find the right motherboard to complement this. And if you know of a motherboard like that, definitely let me know in the comments, and I would like to do it. Yes, DDR3 memory, old system, but still could be a cool system, something fun to put together, be original, at least for me, and have fun with it. So I'm done with this. I learned a lot, and one thing I did learn is that I need to really understand overclocking, tweaking, and just a lot of the settings. And that's the cool thing, like I talk about with all this old hardware. It's less scary to tinker around with something like this, because if you fry it or break it, yes, and there are provisions to kind of help keep things, you know, from going down that route, but still, newer hardware, I get nervous with it, but something like this, I've learned a lot, and I'd be more willing to try something with newer hardware, so still pretty cool. But moving on, comment down below, let me know your thoughts, concerns, criticisms. Would you keep this graphics card, or would you put it in a lower end build? And what do you think about the idea of just doing a really cool yellow nuclear reactor build or something like that? If you like this video, definitely hit the like button, subscribe if you're not, and as always, we'll see what we come up with next.